Please leave your
time after.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Mufti Nu'man, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, doing all right. A little bit of a gloomy day, but doesn't mean that, anything changes for us. So, alhamdulillah for another morning, man. How are you doing, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah. And to all of our viewers on Facebook and on YouTube, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I pray and hope to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that everyone is doing wonderful. So, folks, as we announced last week and throughout the week, I would like to welcome all of our viewers to our weekly racial equality story time with myself, Abdurrahman Bashir, and my partner in Hasanat. Right? I don't like to say partner in crime,
Yes, sir,
but
yes,
my partner in service. There you go. How about that? You like
I
that?
like it. I like
Okay.
it. I like it.
So my partner in service, Mufti Nu'man, also known as NAK, Nu'man Ahmed Khan. Folks, I hope and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all of you and children who are watching, I hope and pray that everyone has been having a good time. Everyone is enjoying this extended vacation within a vacation, right? The summer within the lockdown. For our viewers, you probably know by now that the masjid unfortunately had to shut back down this Friday, very short notice and abruptly due to the spike in the virus. We ask and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects all of us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the public the tawfiq, the ability, the understanding to realize, to take safety measures seriously, folks. So all of the children who are watching online, and parents, make sure that if you find yourself outside, outdoors, in public places, that you keep a distance from people who are not within your family circle. Please make sure you are covering your mouth. You're not, touching things and then rubbing your nose and sticking your fingers in your noses and whatnot. You know what I mean? So, viewers, jazakumullah khair for joining us. Inshallah, we're going to give about 2 minutes. At 11:05 sharp, we'll get started with our story time. Today, we are going to be discussing the life of Muhammad Ali, also known as Muhammad Ali, right? Muhammad Ali. Rahimahullah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him, because he passed away in 2016, right?
Yes.
He was in, there's a famous, there's a saying about Muhammad Ali, right? Hated by some, loved by many, respected by all, right? So that's something that, an honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Muhammad Ali, where he was loved as a person. He was loved not just as a person, but he was loved as a black person, and not just loved as a black person, but loved as a black Muslim American. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the life of Muhammad Ali, rahimahullah, and what got him started and what he stood for, for the children. But the main purpose, folks, and especially the parents who are watching, getting your kids situated right now, the purpose of this story time and with the books that we are choosing is not just so much for the sake of the story itself, right, Mufti Sahab? I mean, last week we talked about Little Malcolm Little, right? How Malcolm X, who is also a black American Muslim black American, rahimahullah, Malik Shahbaz, rahimahullah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him. How from a very early age, the challenges that he went through. His house was, their house was burnt while they were inside the house. Why? Just because they were black. So, folks, the purpose of these story times is not just for the sake of the story, but it's to provide a safe space. When we're reading a story, always remember this: when we are reading a story, right, regardless of the age group of the story, while we are reading that book, it's like you're in an insulated space. You're in a safe space that's insulated with 2 covers. Okay. And while you are in that book, that is your safe space. That is where thoughts will start to occur that will lead to conversations that should happen, that will lead to the changing of the outlook of our children at the young, tender, impressionable ages that our children are going through. Don't just think that actions are observed, but inactions are also observed. Right. So race is one of those topics. Now, Mufti Sahab, I have been educating myself, trying to figure out, as a parent, for those who are watching, I have a 10, 8, and a 3-year-old, all 3 boys, and, trying to have the conversation with my children, especially the 10 and 8-year-old. It's not an easy one. It's something that we need to look into. We need to educate ourselves as well as parents. But what I've learned, that the conversation and topic of race with our children, okay, and we're not talking about, this is something I mentioned last week, that we're not talking about explaining to our children to not see color. You know what I mean, Mufti Sahab?
Right. Absolutely.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that we made you into different tribes and branches, right? Different branches, shu'uban wa qaba'il, and different tribes, so that you can recognize each other. Imagine all of the crayons in a, I know it's been a while for you, Mufti Saab, but I know you're in the education, you're in the field of education, and you deal with many more kids than I do now. The biggest, chunkiest box of Crayola crayons. Do you
Right.
know how many crayons come in that chunky box?
I have no clue.
64.
64. I think they added a bunch more. Are you
Yeah, they
talking
have
about
the standard is like
the standard
64,
is 64?
the big one, or I think it's 128 or something.
Gotcha.
So when we talk about that, imagine we open the box and there was just one color, 60 crayons of the same color, right?
Right.
So our children, they from as early as the age of 3, children start to categorize things based on color, right? So to explain to our children all the time that, oh yeah, we don't see color, we don't see color. Actually, we do see color, and we see the color, and we respect the color, and we
Right.
embrace the color, and we honor the color, and we understand that all of the colors that are throughout the world, all of the shapes, all of the sizes, all of the backgrounds, they all reflect the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine if everyone looked like me, right? You, Mufti Saab, maybe okay, you're a little bearable, but me
I
now,
don't know if everyone is as sharp, dashing. You know what I'm saying? Like
post 40, yeah.
that's
So
the age of Nabuah, man. Like if
yeah.
anything, you're there. I got you.
So, so folks, inshallah, join me in Mufti Saab. We're gonna get started right now. By the way, keep in mind, if you have any comments, any questions, any suggestions, and parents, please share with the rest of your Allen family. If you have any experiences, if you would like to, actually, even if you, right, Mufti Saab, if you would like to join in the conversation, let us know. Send an email, inshallah. We'll have you join in as well.
Right.
So folks, inshallah, without further ado, we're going to get started with the story of Muhammad Ali. This is a, hold on, let me get to the book. Excuse me. All right, slide number, not yet. There you go. All right. The name of the book is Muhammad Ali by, let's see. This is a book that I bought off of Apple iBooks. This is a book. It's called Little People, Big Dreams, Muhammad Ali, written by Isabel Sanchez Vegara, illustrated by Brosmind. Okay, so inshallah, we're going to get started with Muhammad Ali. Mufti Saab, please take it away.
Once there was a little boy from Kentucky who knew he would go far in life. His name was Cassius, and he lived in a little house with his parents and younger brother.
One day, someone stole his brand new bicycle. He told the officer that he wanted to face the thief. The officer said, Cassius, you better learn how to fight first, right? So, a young, pumped up kid whose bicycle got stolen. So it's not like he walked out and his bicycle was missing. His bicycle got just taken, while he was off the pedals. So obviously he got angry and he wanted to, give him a lesson, right? This is Muhammad Ali, the child, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but actually, it's really awesome how he knew exactly who to go to when something wrong happened. He didn't take measures in his own hands. He wanted to actually go to someone who can actually help him and actually take care of him. Like if someone is getting bullied at school, they have a bunch of people in their parents and their teachers that they can go and actually reach out to.
Yeah. And remember, for example, the art and skill of fighting. Whether it be, many children and many parents look into the option of taekwondo or martial arts. My kids did jiu-jitsu for a little while until the lockdown. I mean, the whole purpose of these skills, it's actually a skill set. So when we talk about fighting, we're not just talking about, all right, let's grab this mug and throw it at somebody, right?
Right.
When we're talking about fighting, it's an art, it's a skill that you learn, that you master. And the purpose behind fighting, by the way, is to defend yourself, to defend your family, to defend to defend someone who may be oppressed. Okay. So, and remember, fighting and raising your hands is not always the first option. So children need to keep that in mind. But he did get angry, right? Mufti Saab, if someone stole your bike, would you be angry?
Dude, it used to happen like every 3 weeks in Queens. You know how many bricks?
Yeah, that's the trade-off for living in New York.
Yeah, we had no place to park them. We used to leave them in our building, and next morning, I was just in the same shoes as Muhammad Ali, gone.
Wow. Subhanallah.
Soon, Cassius was learning how to box. He was not the strongest fighter, but he had a secret weapon. He was faster than everyone else.
All right, and you see in the picture how he's walking through, how he just ran, in between the legs of his trainer. Right, he was known to be a very, very fast in his reflexes and in his moves. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, and this is him, showing him moving up into the first place. Fight after fight, Cassius proved himself as a junior boxer. His talent took him to the Olympics in Rome, where he won a gold medal, but it was not enough. He dreamed of going professional. So Mufti Noman, at the age of 18, Cassius Clay, this was before he became Muslim, he already accepted a gold.
Yeah.
Wow, on a global level. So he went from wanting to learn how to box or fight. So his bicycle doesn't get stolen, and now he's bringing gold for the home. Right. Talk about inspiration, right?
For the country, for the whole country.
Yeah, for the whole country.
He trained harder than ever. And not just in the ring, Cassius set his sights on the World Heavyweight Championship.
So one thing that, kids about Muhammad Ali is that he trained a lot, right? Every breath of his, like from the time he woke up till the time he went to sleep. And that's a very important lesson for all of our young children, that, whatever you want to achieve in life, right? You need to work hard for it. You need to put in the time for it. Listen, a lot of you kids are playing Smash Brothers. A lot of you kids playing video games. The same thing applies in everything, right? If you want to pass those levels, if you want to beat the game, if you want to excel in anything in life, whether it's sports, whether it's school, whether it's video games, whatever it may be, the hard work, there's two things. In our religion, we have the hard work, and before that, the help of Allah, right? Once we have the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we put in our hard work, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us. Right. So Muhammad Ali, he trained and trained and trained, and he worked so hard to get where he wanted to see himself. So likewise, kids, wherever we want, for those kids who are aspiring to be hafiz, for example, for those parents who are aspiring to push their kids to get into hifz, whatever it is, we need to explain to our children that hard work, work hard, play harder. That's how it goes, right? Just like the Snickers bar says.
Right.
All right. So to tease his opponents, Cassius often used rhymes describing how he was going to win. And one of his very famous quotes is right there on the page. I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. Right? Some thought of it as trash talk, but it sounded like poetry, and it worked. So he would use poetry, right? So this is not a person that's just standing up and just moving and punching and throwing his weight around, but he was very charismatic in his speech. He was very well versed. The way he would talk would mesmerize people. Now, children may not remember Muhammad Ali, but a lot of parents probably do, and they remember all of his post interviews and pre-round interviews, and as we learn in the book, Muhammad Ali wasn't someone who just spoke inside the ring, but he spoke outside the ring as well.
Oh man, absolutely. And actually, I implore they actually rerun a lot of his interviews because they're so applicable today. It's as if like he was talking about all of these issues just yesterday or a couple of days ago. And the way like a lot of you know that Sheikh G, that famous video of his where he talks about this was shortly after the assassination of Martin Luther King. And so he was asked within that interview that why don't you carry any security around you? Why don't you have any personnel to look after you and to ensure your safety? And then in that interview, he's like, I have one bodyguard and you have one bodyguard. And he's like, we all have one bodyguard, right? He hears, but he does not have ears. He sees everything, but he does not have eyes. He wants for something to happen. He doesn't even need to ask for it to happen, and it comes into existence. He's like, that's my bodyguard. That's your bodyguard. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dude, it was so powerful, man. It was so powerful. Those that haven't seen it, I definitely encourage to go watch it. And, to your point, Sheikh G, he was quick. He was quick. But not only were his fists and his technique quick, it was also his thoughts and his words. His wit was super quick. He knew what to say and how to say it. And that's important because I want to circle back on that point on how Allah made the fastest boxer of that time, whether it be in terms of his hands, whether it be in terms of his thoughts or his speech. What happened to him later on in his life in terms of that speed? Was he able to keep that same speed? Right. So I want to harp on that later as soon as his story continues. So he got his chance to fight for the title against Sonny Liston, one of the world's toughest fighters. Everyone thought Cassius was scared to death, but he proved the champion's belt belonged to him.
Oops. Okay. Cassius was not just a famous boxer, but a courageous defender of African American rights in a time when it was dangerous to speak up. So right. Muhammad Ali, he didn't just use his popularity and his victory. He wasn't selfish. He wasn't a selfish person, right? Just because, obviously when you're in any type of professional sport, especially the way he got up, how quickly he got up, right. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of popularity involved, but he didn't allow that money and that fame to kind of get him, think big of himself. He still used his voice. He used his face. He used the time and opportunity that he had to talk about the rights of African Americans. Now, why was it, what does it mean by the rights of African Americans? Well, for our young viewers over here, in the United States of America, for a very long time, and even till now, people who are African American, whether we call them African American, whether we call them Black, people with darker skin, people of color, they were treated very bad. And even now, and especially then, they were treated very, very bad. Did you know, kids, that once upon a time, there were such things as white schools and colored schools? Okay.
Right.
Did you know, kids, that once upon a time in the United States of America, a person of color, which we mean Black or brown, they could not drink from the same water fountain, not because of the COVID virus.
Right.
Right. There was no distancing because of the virus. They would distance Black people from everything, whether it be on public transportation. Now imagine you get on a bus, right? I don't know if too many of our children have been on a bus. Well, school bus. Okay, let's take a school bus, for example. So when the schools started to allow colored kids to start being a part of the picture, the buses were still segregated, right? So there was a lot of bad things that, Black people faced and experienced in the United States. And it's going on still right now as well. So Muhammad Ali, he made sure to talk about these things and let people know. All right.
Right. And, that actually reminds me of a story that took place in his life. So when he won that gold medal, the one that you were referencing earlier, So he wins it for the entire country, right? So it's the Olympics. There's different countries. So Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay at the time, he was representing the United States of America. So he wins the gold medal. He comes back home to Louisville, Kentucky, and Sheikh, he's like, I can finally go to that restaurant downtown where it's only a white restaurant. They only allow white people to go inside. He's like, I won the gold medal. So he goes downtown, and as soon as he goes, he finds himself a nice little spot, and he's sitting down, and he opens the menu, and the waitress comes to him and says that, what are you doing here? And mind you, he was still in his Olympic gear. He still had his gold medal, right? So he's like, I'm here to eat, just like everybody else. She's like, you don't belong here. And she's like, you have to get out. And he's so perplexed and he's so shocked because in his mind, it's like, hey, you see this gold medal here? I won this for all of us. You, everybody here, and this whole country. This is for us. Like, I won this for us. She didn't care. All that hard work that he put, all the blood, sweat, tears, she didn't care. She said, you need to get out of here. Sheikh, do you know what the first place he went to? He went to this body of water, this river that they had right in his town. He goes, and it was a bridge that used to kind of go over this body of water. So he walks up to the bridge, he takes off his gold medal, and he throws it and he flings it into the body of water.
Wow.
And he says that this medal couldn't even give me the basic right of eating with other people. You know, so right from the start, he was always about, yeah, sure, he was the best, one of the best to ever do it, right, in his sport. But it was something greater than that. And we're going to continue to see like what he used to stand up for, what he used to do. I think the banner is covering a little text of the book, by the way. So the story continues. He also became inspired by the teachings of Islam and changed his name to Muhammad Ali. So before, he was not Muhammad Ali. Before Islam, he was Cassius Clay. And then after accepting Islam, he became Muhammad Ali, or Muhammad Ali, a beautiful Arabic name that made him feel strong and proud to be himself.
And, Muhammad Ali really had, obviously he discovered Islam, he became a Muslim, and he wasn't shy to pray in public. He wasn't shy. He was not shy at all. So remember, Muhammad Ali was a black person living at a time where black people were treated differently. And on top of that, now he is a part of a religion that's not really that popular in the United States.
Right.
And he immediately let everyone know that my name has changed. My name is Muhammad Ali. And, kids, Mufti Saab, I want you to share with the kids about his name on the Hollywood star walk.
Oh man. So I'm sure a lot of the viewers have either been or if not, after the story time, definitely Google what we're talking about.
I'm gonna tell it to our audience. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Hollywood. So they have this Hollywood Walk of Fame, right? And it's all these different famous people. It's a bunch of celebrities. And if you've done enough in your life, whatever they consider the standard, then they give you a star on this Walk of Fame. So basically, it's just this massive, and it's different parts, right, Sheikh? Like they have it spread throughout downtown, but basically they have a bunch of these celebrities and stars, and they have their name forever ingrained in the ground. So anytime you go to California, you'll always see that there's a bunch of these different celebrities, and they have their names all over the streets of California. But Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm. Huh? Go ahead. No, continue.
Yeah, but Muhammad Ali is the one star that's not on the floor. And the reason being is because he himself, Muhammad Ali, he's like, I don't want my name to be on the floor. And did he have a
So
problem with it? Uh-huh.
so right here for our viewers, here is a picture of one portion of the Hollywood star-mounted Walk of Fame, right? So you see Charlize Theron and all these famous Hollywood actors, movie actors. But when it came for Muhammad Ali to be awarded this star, he said, "No, I don't want. I'm not going to have this on the ground where people are going to walk over my name." And it wasn't because it was his name.
Right.
It was because it was the Prophet sallallahu. He named himself. He wasn't. He adopted the name Muhammad
Hmm.
based on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, so he didn't want people to walk over that. His
Right.
is the only star that is on the wall, right? And I believe this bouquet of flowers was put there when he passed away, right? As to pay respects and tribute. So, yeah, we are talking about someone who was very, very proud of being a Muslim, who
Right.
was very particular about letting people know that, hey, this is who I am.
Right.
SubhanAllah. So, I'll just share something with the audience. Sometimes when I'm at a red light, and well, this used to happen on Jum'ahs, right? So my Jum'ah tradition with the boys is that we blast Surah Kahf on the way to the masjid, right? Whenever it applies, whenever they're allowed to come, right? And we would be like at a red light, and my kids would be like, "Daddy, put the volume down, put the windows up." I'm like, "Why?" You know? And it's very important for children to know that, listen, our religion, Islam, our skin and religion, these are two things that we are not to be ashamed of at
Right.
all. We may find ourselves a little uncomfortable. We may, it may not be that easy when we look around. We may think that, we may feel a little ashamed. It's not really ashamed. I think it's just shy. But Muhammad Ali was someone who was not shy, right? And hey, I'm Muslim, right? All right. So now I believe it's my turn, right?
Yes, sir.
Then a war started on the other side of the world. Ali thought it was wrong and refused to fight in it. He was stripped of his title and banned from boxing for 3 years. But for him, beliefs were more important. So back in the day when Muhammad Ali was winning fights and getting popular, a war broke out called the Vietnam War. And this was at a time in the United States where you had to serve in the military. So his turn had come, but he did not accept the fact he didn't want to be a part of this war. He considered this an unjust oppression of innocent people. So he went around and said, "You know what? I'm not going to join. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to pick up a lethal weapon against somebody. I'm not going to pick up a gun against someone. I'm not going to go out to kill someone." And because of that, they took away his belt. They took away his title for 3 years. He was banned from boxing. But guess what? He didn't stay in his room. He didn't sit in timeout facing the corner. He used this opportunity to talk about how this was not a good idea. This war was bad. And he was also very clear about why he thought it was bad, and he was not shy about mentioning his religion throughout the whole process. All right.
And it's crazy, subhanAllah, to that point, Sheikh. Ain't it crazy to see that this man was on top of the world? Like, so for those that don't know and they're watching, he was a worldwide icon. Like, he wasn't just an icon here in the United States or in North America. He was a renowned icon throughout the world. Everybody knew who Muhammad Ali was. But he went from being on top of the world, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And with all of this happening, when they stripped him of his license, his boxing license, and then they stripped him of his title belt, it's like you had someone who was on top of the world, on top of his game, and now all of a sudden, because he stood up for what he believed and what was right, it's like everything changed, you know? So, anyways, when Ali comes back, he did it as I think, okay, cool, we're back. When Ali came back, he did it as only the greatest do. The Ali Shuffle, the rope-a-dope. He won some of his most famous fights, becoming the first boxer to win the heavyweight belt 3 times. That's
Wow.
amazing.
So he came back. He came back much more stronger than he ever did. You know, for those of us, not just in professional sports, but if kids, even if you're like doing soccer or you're practicing your art skills, if you stop doing that for 3 years, when you get back up on the field, you're going to be rusty, right?
Yeah,
He kept on training. He kept on working hard. He knew what he wanted. He had his eye on the prize,
right.
right? He had his eye on the prize. And likewise, kids, when we know what we want in life, we must ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and pursue that, Before we move forward, I just wanted to mention, I just wanted to show, we have a comment from Shazia Wahab. This is amazing. Well done. My boys are genuinely being inspired and learning. And this is very good. This is the whole purpose behind this. We're getting together on a Sunday morning for this story time to talk about race. And obviously religion comes in this topic as well with Muhammad Ali. This is where the conversation starts. Okay. This is when it starts. It's not just for Sunday morning, but throughout our conversation, there are a lot of things that our kids may be exposed to as far as the news, current events. So we should definitely use this opportunity to talk about race with our children, and educate ourselves as parents too. Sometimes we don't know how to talk to the kids. We don't know how to talk to our children. So it's very good to understand and be inspired by this. So now moving forward, Ali was admired and loved by people from all around the world. And when he retired, he gave all that love back by working for charities and helping others. So Muhammad Ali, his drive to help others, to have his voice be heard, right? To have his face be seen. It was not just in the boxing ring. It was not just outside the boxing ring, but it was even after his career and after he retired, right? Everyone in the world knew who Muhammad Ali was, right?
Right.
People who did not know who Muhammad the Prophet was knew who Muhammad Ali the boxer was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely, him being a Muslim, not only did it help Black people, it also helped Muslims, and it helped the oppressed. It helped whoever and all of the people that he stood to help. Go ahead.
And to that point, so that last line said that Muhammad Ali started giving charity and started, helping people. So this was a constant theme throughout his life. He started doing it more so after he finished and after he retired, but Muhammad Ali would always look out for others. He has this really awesome quote, which is one of my favorite quotes of his, where he says that service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Service to others is the rent that you pay. So you know how when you want to live in a home, you have to pay rent to live in that room, to live in that house, to live in that apartment, whatever it is. He said that the rent that you have to pay to live here in this world, to even exist in this world, you have to pay that by helping other people who need your help. And he used to show that through his actions as well. So he was a GOAT in boxing, but he was a GOAT in helping others as well. Since then, many young boxers have followed in the steps of Muhammad Ali, the little boy who used to say, "One day I'm going to be the greatest."
Wow. All right. So that brings our book to an end. Let's see. All right. So let me get the screen share off. Can you see me? All right. There we go. So folks, yeah, alhamdulillah. So Muhammad Ali, not only was he an awesome boxer, not only was he not only was he an awesome boxer, but he was an awesome Muslim and an awesome human being. And the what he was able to change in people's understanding and thought that he was able to bring was a change that many people, working their whole lives, could not be able to accomplish. And now he's resting in his grave, and he is reaping the reward and the fruits of all of his hard work and labor. But Muhammad Ali was a famous Muslim and a famous Black person, right?
Sheikh, we have that. Sorry to cut you off. We have a timeline at the end too. I think it'd be awesome if we get a chance to cover it at the end of the book. So this kind of like encapsulates just a synopsis and a summary of pretty much his entire career. So it's a timeline of that entire thing that we just talked about, the entire series of events. So that last 2 pages kind of highlight. Do you want to go over it? You want to share it?
Go ahead.
Screen share it?
You ready? All right.
Yeah.
Isn't this awesome, man?
Oh yeah, it's super clear, super awesome.
I don't
You
have
can read
to
the first page.
cry.
I'll read the
I
second
don't
one.
have to cry. I don't have to pull my hair out. I don't have to be like, oh my God, I heard all this online stuff. Alhamdulillah, finally we, me and Mufti, we finally figured and, cracked at this. Go ahead.
I think Sheikh, you can go ahead and say the first page. I'll do the second one.
All right. So let me.
Or I could do the first one. You could do the second
Go ahead.
one. Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. When Cassius was 12 years old, someone stole his bicycle. The police officer on duty suggested he should come to his boxing class and learn how to fight. Cassius started to train as an amateur boxer and won 100 out of his 105 fights. 100 out of his 105 fights. That's an amazing record. He hated training. He hated it, but knew if he worked hard, he would become a champion. At age 18, he made it to the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome, bringing home a gold medal in the light heavyweight division. This was enough for Cassius to turn his dream of boxing into a career. He went professional, and at 22, he won his first heavyweight title against favorite to win Sonny Liston. From then on, Cassius was a formidable fighter. He was fast, smart, and used slick rhymes to taunt his opponents. Sheikh, you could take it from here.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm taking care of some of the comments.
Cool. Cassius later converted to the Muslim faith and changed his name to Muhammad Ali. So again, he was Cassius Clay before Islam and Muhammad Ali after he accepted Islam. When the Vietnam War started, Ali refused to fight because he felt it was unjust. He was banned from boxing for 3 years. When he returned to the ring, he won 3 more heavyweight titles. So after 3 years of inactivity, 3 years of being stripped of his license, he comes back and he wins 3 titles. But Ali was way more than just a boxer. He spoke out about civil rights and racial discrimination and gave love and hope to his community. In later years, Ali suffered from Parkinson's disease. So in the beginning, when we were talking about his quick speed and his quick witty tongue, it's really amazing how someone who was the fastest, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed all of that. So Parkinson's disease, for those that don't know, makes someone their movements are not at the same speed that they once used to be. They're not as mobile, as agile, and they end up getting slower and slower and losing that same control over their body that they once had. So despite his illness, he continued to spread hope by raising money for charities that helped people with the disease. Today, Muhammad Ali is remembered as the greatest boxer of all time, the GOAT, and a champion who lived by his words. Don't count the days, make the days count.
Yes, that is something that every time I hear that quote, it just takes my breath away. Don't count the days, make the days count. We use that in the end of Ramadan. We use that in every, subhanallah, it's so relevant.
Right.
It's such an important quote. Don't count the days, make the days count. Kids, it's summer. It's a long summer. Guess what? Schools open up or not open up, or I don't know, the debates going on in ISD, whatever it is, kids, things are going to be like this for a while. How
Right.
long? We don't know.
Right.
Don't count the days, make the days count. Use this time to help out around the house, to be a good son, a good daughter, to be a good child, be a good older brother or sister, be a good younger sibling. This is the time for us to, and for parents, let's spend some time with them. Not some time, let's spend a good amount of time with them, reading books, talking about race, talking about religion, talking about whatever it is that you want, whatever grooming that you need, whatever mindsets, whatever you want your children to be. You have to mold your kids. You have
Right.
to mold their mindset, right? And race is one of those things where, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everyone differently, right? I want all of the kids to think. Mufti Sab, you know any twins? Do you know any twins?
I do know twins. My nephews are twins, but they're
Yeah.
big. They're like 2 years old, about to be 3.
I have within my family and tribe, we have 3 pairs of twins. Okay.
Right.
And oh my God, twins are so different, right? And not all twins look alike either,
Right. Right.
but subhanallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created 2 identical looking twins from the same mother with 2 different natures, and even 2 siblings who are born at the same time can look different from each other, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everyone differently.
Right.
And just because someone looks different than us, or someone looks different than what our family looks like, does not mean that there is something negative or something wrong or something bad about that person.
Right.
If I get cut, I bleed. What? I bleed red.
Right.
My blood is red. If you get cut, your blood is red. If someone who is black gets cut, their blood is red. Underneath the skin, we are all the same. We are all one race. We are the human race, right? We are all human beings. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to love each other for being a human being. We don't help someone because they're Muslim. We don't not help someone because someone is not Muslim. No, we help people who need help. We love everyone. We respect and honor everyone, regardless of their background, regardless of their religion. And, these are, but these things exist. There are non-Muslims. There are people who are Christian, Jews, people who don't have any religion, people who have other religions. There are people, and look at the beauty of Islam when we come to the masjid, right? So we are all of different backgrounds, kids. So it's very important for us to, understand and realize that, we must, and as parents, we must teach our children to truly and genuinely love people of all backgrounds and of all races. And guess what? If something makes you sad inside, it probably makes someone else sad inside as well. If something hurts you, it hurts other people as well. So keep that in mind. So Mufti Saab, I would like to ask you to give some final comments, inshallah, before we close it. We are already at we started 5 minutes early. So alhamdulillah, we are at the 45-minute mark. So inshallah, if you can conclude.
No, I mean, alhamdulillah, I think for the most part, you did a fantastic job at just covering all of the unique points that we learned from the story. And I think by and large, the main one, it's not about I don't see color, because then what's going to happen when you're at a traffic light? It's about being able to see color and being able to accept it and being able to learn more about who it is that we're speaking to. And so ultimately, that's with any of these different stories that we're doing. Inshallah, y'all are going to spread the word because we're going to continue doing this. We're going to have this next week. We're going to continue on with this theme, inshallah. And Sister Salvi is going to be joining us next week as well. So as we continue doing this, again, as Sheikh Abdul Rahman, highlighted for us, the main point is to be able to have these healthy discussions and conversations. Right now is that time to not run away from the subject. We had such amazing figures in our history. And so we ought to learn from their experience and who they were and how they lived their lives. So with that being said, we hope that y'all tune in next week as well. Inshallah, same time here at 11 p.m. Have the little ones awake. Make it like a thing, make it like something to look forward to. Have them wake up a little bit earlier. Let them have their breakfast as they're listening to the story time, whatever the case is.
Throw it up on the TV. Let them have their breakfast on the sofa.
Right.
No.
I don't know how many parents are gonna be happy with that one, but yeah.
That's
So,
wow.
oh yeah, my mom would turn us upside down, man, if we ever did that. It was only the table. So, but with that,
I wanted to give a shout out to Sister Shazia Wahab, Omar Fuad Raouf, and Alauddin Khalil. She mentions over here my daughters are Yasmin and Hana. So these are
he mentions his
okay,
daughters.
okay.
And then,
Yeah, Alauddin. Yeah. So his daughters are they were part of the summer program. So these are Mufti Nu'man students and my students. Jazakumullah khair. Sister Shiraz Hassan, brother Shiraz Hassan. Oh my God, brother Shiraz Hassan also mentioned appreciation and thanks. Well, share the link with your family and friends. Join us next week. We will share our book selection with you later on in the week, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, Allen family. Y'all stay safe and y'all stay cozy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.